my name is Myjoi Fernando, and I'm running as the next College of Art and Sciences representative under the banner of Anima.
Alright, for your first question. Our stakeholders raised prominent issues within CAS, particularly a lack of guidance in terms of their direction post-graduation. This is especially with internships and career opportunities, lack of communication lines with faculty, and a disconnect from matters outside the university. Why did you choose to prioritize establishing a week-long project, that's CAS Week, rather than a long-term sustainable project to address this issue?
First, I would like to clarify that the Cascade Journey is not just a week-long initiative. It just ends and it continues and presents the outputs of the students during the CAS Foundation Day. Yet this project presents a skills and work immersion throughout the academic year to spread out different skills, honing, workshops, field trips, and other talks that will aid the CAS students in different aspects beyond the academic curriculum. I would also like to mention that this CAS Week that was mentioned by Ms. Buhan, thank you. This will be a cumulative and a community-wide aspect of the project that will end the project that I am proposing. This Cascade Journey is a sustainable and a relevant project that will allow the CAS students, even outside of the skills that they're learning within the academic curriculum. This project allows them to not only discover their skills within the CAS-centered subjects, but also to develop bonds throughout the CAS community in order to not only bond with different batches, but even outside stakeholders, such as the individuals that I have talked to and I have invited in order to teach these skill workshops, so that even outside and beyond the academics, the graduation, which is an issue that I actually found out and also evaluated throughout my research, is that CAS students are not really sure what to do after graduation, because it's a very wide and very big net of jobs and opportunities that CAS can actually update. But this project actually just really focuses on that actual issue. Thank you.
Good evening. So considering this, justify why these are the projects that you have prioritized. Again, justify why these are the projects you have prioritized.
May I clarify? The projects that you mentioned, all three or just the Cascade Journey?
Cascade, please. Thank you.
Thank you for that question. The reason why I prioritize the Cascade Journey is upon evaluation and talking to my fellow CAS students, both within my batch and even upper batch and even younger, they have told me that the main issue that they have experienced in being CAS is that there's not a lot of avenues, platforms, in order to hone their skills beyond the academic curriculum. I'd like to acknowledge that the CAS and the professors that we have given us very wide knowledge and very sustainable skills that we can use within our occupation beyond the graduation. Yet we are searching a bit more, and we're looking for a bit more development within the CAS. We want to hone these skills, and we want to be able to be heard in those aspects. And this is why I'm prioritizing the Cascade Journey. This project is not only to showcase the amazing and talented skills of my fellow CAS students, but also to really dig deep in the different initiatives that CAS wants to actually uphold, whether it be their values, their philosophies, their art. It's a big platform wherein CAS students will be able to showcase what they're really made of and why they chose CAS in the first place.
For the next follow-up question, now bringing in a relatively new course within CAS, the Health Humanities program. So it's CAS's youngest course, and its curricula features a combination of both allied health courses as well as humanities courses. However, concerns have been raised that the program gives a premium to humanities courses, thereby leaving health humanities students feeling under-equipped for national medical admission tests. As the potential CAS representative, in what ways can you integrate the concerns and interests of health humanities students? Furthermore, what are concrete ways in which you can respond to the specific concern of health humanities students regarding the NMAP?
Thank you for that question. Firstly, I'd like to go back to my project, Cascade Journey. This project does not only focus on the umbrella course, the humanities, but also creative writing and health humanities as well. Previously, I actually did hear about that issue, and how to combat this is that I've actually reached out to various health organizations that would actually like to stay anonymous for now if ever I would proceed with this project. These health organizations will partner up with CAS in order to provide those skills and developments within their specified skills and talents and even subjects. Furthermore, this project will also aid not only the humanities students, the creative writing students, and even the health humanities to focus on their specified skills, but also to even showcase them in the near future. Another concrete way I can actually help or aid the health humanities is also using and utilizing this course within the community. We can use RDC, our Research Development Committee, in order to look into and survey what the health humanities actually needs, and not just the health humanities, but even creative writing, which is also a relatively new course within the humanities, and even humanities itself. There are a lot of issues and projects that could stem from being able to survey and even understand the inner workings of CAS itself. Thank you.
Sorry, since there's still a bit of time left within the follow-up question, I'll just reiterate the question I asked earlier. So, in your answer, you mentioned that you can use your projects to survey what the health humanities students and other students under CAS, what they need so that you can provide them with it. However, within the question, it was already stated that it's already a known problem within their curriculum that health humanities students have consistently experienced. So once again, can you provide concrete ways on how to address this problem and not just how to find out about it?
All right, thank you for that follow-up question. Beyond understanding and surveying health humanities, creative writing, and humanities students in general, a big thing that we can do as the USG or as the next CAS representative is also to partner up with the faculty, include them in the project, because they are the ones who are the ones teaching us about the skills and the initiatives that we do in CAS. In order to partner up with the faculty and maybe even negotiate or talk to them and evaluate the curriculum that the health humanities have right now, we can further their development and even understand more what we can add to their curriculum in order for them to feel heard and focused within their course and help them with the test that you mentioned. Thank you.
Thank you. We are now opening the floor for audience and stakeholder questions.
For your Cascade project, you said it will help CAS students discover and instill new skills in them. And what skills are these specifically?
Thank you so much for that question. Based on the survey that I did before creating and proposing the Cascade Journey, the different skills that we will be offering or focusing on will be dependent first on the focus course. So for example, for humanities and creative writing and health humanities, that will differ first and foremost. Second, for example, we can have an extended knowledge bank of narrative writing, cultural studies, historical investigation, and even thematic studies, which will help not only humanities students, but also other courses under the CAS with their research papers, their essays, and although these are the ones that I mentioned right now, there are other courses and other subjects that I plan to do in the future if ever placed into this position.
A follow-up question for that, because a lot of the examples you mentioned are already existing courses and subjects, and you also mentioned that in your projects you would be offering new skills that they would otherwise have not as much of a chance of experiencing within the curriculum. So what are these skills that we can, as a CAS student, we can learn and enjoy, I guess, outside of what the curriculum can already offer us?
Alright, thank you for that. To reiterate, the skills that the Cascade Journey will be offering, yes, I acknowledge that there are some subjects, and most of our subjects rather, do offer these skills already. Yet this is actually an extended version of our current curriculum. Because based on the survey that I have done within the CAS community, they want to know more about the humanities. They want to dig deep into the skills in order to have a clear path on their occupation and journey. That's why it's called the cascade journey in general. To answer your second question, right now, the new skills that I would have to mention, I would actually have to look into, and I would take full accountability for that. Because I focused on what the CAS students mentioned to me, and even what the faculty has said to incorporate in this cascade journey. Yet, if placed into this position, I will make sure that there are new skills offered for this project. But thank you for the question.
My name is Tina Maranion, fourth year humanities student, speaking on behalf of Carlos as Vice President. I have to apologize in advance because I have many questions from those seated in the audience right now. So these are not my personal questions exclusively. So this is my first question. Regarding the apparent involvement of Carlos in the Cascade Journey plan. We appreciate the explicit inclusion of the newly formed home org or academic association in one of the candidates' 3 platforms. However, it is of note to us that of the different components mentioned in its description, workshops, talks, and field trips, these are all already either in effect through faculty initiatives or fall under the list of planned CALOS projects that we hope to execute either this semester or next year. So given this, it appears that the issue underlying this does not actually lie in the lack of avenues available to CAS students within the purview of their academic, personal, and professional interests. It is actually in the unification and coordination of these scattered ventures so that they are more visible and, more importantly, accessible to the excellent target demographic, which does exist. So the interest does exist. There is no apathy, it is more participation and inclusion. So given this new information, I guess, would not the initiative as it currently stands become redundant if it is a standalone project?
Thank you for that question. No, it will not be redundant because I do plan to collaborate with CALOS, and I've actually talked to some individuals from the organization to help me actually help me understand what issues I should be focusing on as a CAS student. And I do acknowledge that there is a sense of redundancy when it comes to faculty and them offering these different skills and workshops. Yet I've already reached out to the CAS dean and told her about what she thinks about my cascade journey. And she has told me that this is actually a good project because it will allow even more avenues and platforms. This is not to overstep CALOS because I know that you are being reinstated and you have been re-accredited, and I applaud you for doing that, and also applaud our current CAS representative for actually doing that. I applaud them, and I actually hope to work with them in the future. And going back to what I mentioned about the faculty, yes, I have actually reached out to different faculty members and even the dean to evaluate this cascade journey and to see if it actually has importance or vitality within the community. And their answer is yes, because this will just allow us to have an even bigger net of opportunities. And we will be able to partner with them to allocate and also to remove that sense of redundancy. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your response. As a follow-up question, I'll actually be asking one of the separate individual questions that sort of is related to this. So, yeah, as mentioned, CALOS isn't actually revitalized, but it's a whole new org.
Yes.
Because, as you know, logos ceased to exist completely last year. So, other than gathering the minimum requirement of members under our roster and putting together recognition files, we actually had to restructure the whole thing.
Yes.
Given that we only exist formally this semester, we actually have little resources and manpower to tap on. The structure that we have on paper does not exist yet in our people because that is what this semester is allocated for. So given the fact that in terms of things that we have to offer, either manpower or specializations or special skills that would be useful in actualizing a project that would be valuable to the CAS community, it is unclear in what capacity, in what way CALOS could actually be of help here. Because rather than participation in platforms, what CALOS appears to need for the coming years is just continued support in stabilizing itself. So can the candidate comment on this and what this means for our actual material participation if this platform were to come to fruition?
Thank you for that question. Personally, the best way that CALOS, the CASO organization, can actually help and be part of this project is, like what I mentioned, since we will be hopefully collaborating in the future, this project can be a springboard for participation. Well, first and foremost, if ever CALOS will be needing help with their specific projects, or the ones that I actually read upon and asked about in the upcoming academic year, then that will actually be my top priority first. Although I do want to advocate for my Cascade journey, the stabilization of CALOS would be my number one priority still. Because as a CAS representative, that's what I need to be doing. As becoming the LO of CALOS to the University Student Government or the university as well, that will be my top priority. I am willing to put my Cascade journey first on hold in order to restabilize CALOS. Thank you.
Okay, this is my last question for this Q&A portion. This is in connection to your response actually. So, speaking from your experience as a humanities student who's just finished your majors, as well as the Vice President again of UA&P CALOS, the participation of CAS students in both CAS-centric and school-wide activities hinges greatly on knowing people and pulling them in individually rather than hinging on like common or public venues for communication. Like GC Blast is its own word because, as we said, and I think you mentioned this in your campaign, community is one of our major concerns as the CAS population. So it really depends on like who you know personally and can tap on, so that they also are personally incentivized to participate in those things that you have to offer them. Because the project will not be successful if the people cannot trust in it and actually take part in it. So can the candidate say that she is both integrated and visible enough within the CAS community to function in this way? And if so, how?
Thank you for that question. With all honesty and with all confidence, I can say yes. I am visible to the community and will even make myself even more visible in the coming academic year, whether or not I become the CAS representative. This is because, first off, as the block representative of my humanities course, and humanities block rather, I have taken action to help them as well. And although CAS is not as big as the other schools, I will make sure that I will become visible to them. And I take full accountability if other individuals might not think this way. But personally, I do think, and in all confidence, I am visible. And I'm also mentioning that within the upcoming academic year, and also the restabilization of CALOS, I am offering my help and also offering my support. I'd actually like to add that within my campaign team, majority of them are from CAS. And they have helped me through my projects, evaluate CAS in general and even outside. And I fully believe that I can bring them along with me in order to help CALOS and CAS in general. Thank you.
Thank you. We shall begin with the next question. So your project, Cascade Journey, is in collaboration with CAS's new home organization, CALOS. You have stated that it aims to contribute to strengthening bonds and contributing to growth through encouraging new memberships. However, what are specific and concrete ways in which you can ensure CALOS' stability such that it does not meet the same demise as its predecessor logos? Furthermore, have you consulted CALOS in regard to its revival?
Thank you for that question. Going back to my Cascade journey, the reason why I proposed this project, besides evaluating and getting surveyed from the CAS students, the reason why I placed this up was also to aid CALOS in general. This project is dedicated to creating bonds because based on my experience as a CAS student, the way that we create bonds is like other schools, but a bit more special. Or we have our own unique type of way. We bond through our different subjects. We bond through our different activities, our personal ones. We bond through how we read in class, or how we can act during class, or how we can evaluate each other's poems, narratives. And although that seems so surface level, it's really a deep connection. Incorporating this in a project in general can allow the CAS students to really come together and to be able to bond and to create this specific and strengthening ability to meet each other and even to help each other with this aspect. The concrete way I can do this is obviously by creating this project in general. Although I might not be an assured winner of the election, we're not really sure right now. Yet, if ever what comes to worst, if ever I get to be the cast representative or not, I will still try my best to create this project or to push through with it. And hopefully that it will aid Talos and Bidjan in the long run. And if it doesn't, then I will still give my support to Talos. And I will give my undying help, I will give my undying manpower and being able to pull people to help Talos as well. And as the next cast representative, if given the chance, the best way I can help Talos become more stabilized and be a more known home organization within the university is being that direct LO. And that's really what the position of the cast representative is. To be that executive power that helps them to win, with their projects, and to also bridge them to the university and the connections that the USG has throughout the academic year. Thank you.
Alright, so I have a follow-up question. So you've mentioned that bonds are essential in the stability of the organization. However, are bonds enough to sustain the organization? What organizational structures do you have in place to help stabilize Talos?
First off, to answer your first question, although bonds might not seem like such a big aspect in creating an organization that is successful, yet it is a good springboard. Because why do we join orgs in general? Why do we meet up with people? It's to create bonds. And although that doesn't seem like a very concrete step right now, it is a good catalyst to do so. A structure that we can use, first and foremost, is internal first. I know and I acknowledge that Kalos does have an executive team, and they are working furiously to create Kalos and to project it to the CAS community. Creating and being that LO in that bridge, we will be able to extend that structure first and foremost, because the best way to create an organization and to maintain it is from within and internally. From then on, if we are able to create a good structure of the executive team, the board members, and the members under that, that will allow the organization itself fully run in the next academic year. Thank you.
Alright, for the next follow-up question, in order for you to ensure that Kalos does not meet the same fate as its predecessor, you must first know the issue that led to that happening, right? So can you please state what the identified issue is, and how will your projects prevent this from happening? Again, as Althea asked earlier, are fostering bonds and encouraging memberships enough to sustain a home organization in the long term?
As per my knowledge, back when I entered the university during the pandemic, the CAS students were not represented by a CAS representative. We didn't have a CAS rep. This led to logos not being re-accredited because there was no one spearheading this organization. And this was during, if I'm not mistaken, the academic year of 2021 to 2022, when I was still a freshman. During this time, logos wasn't as visible because we didn't have a CAS representative to show us this home organization. Yet, I'd actually like to acknowledge that the position holders after that academic year did try to do their best, and even the current one, Ms. Ramos, has actually helped us widely to be able to be re-accredited and be a whole new organization for CAS. And to add on to this, the Cascade journey can help CALAS in the long run by actually being a springboard project, and maybe even a staple one at that. Because the home organization has the role to create opportunities and avenues for students. And being able to propose this in collaboration with CALAS would actually solve and be able to aid this school in general. Thank you.
Thank you. We will now be opening the floor to audience and stakeholder Q&As.
Tina Maranion, for the human Speaking on behalf of Carlos as Vice President, I will start with a personal question. As an executive member of Carlos, you mentioned multiple times that that not only did you survey the CAS population, but you talked to Carlos members themselves. This is not a personal attack. Speaking as one of the 4 board members of Carlos, we have never spoken. And these platforms were not actually made known to me personally. I don't think that necessarily means that this correspondence cannot happen in the future, but may I just ask who specifically in Carlos have been in contact with you? And does the candidate plan to make resolutions to communicate more frequently and clearly with actual board members of Carlos? Thank you.
Thank you for that question. Yes, I do plan on being more communicative with Carlos. If given a chance to be the CAS representative, this will be my #1 priority. Secondly, I used the help of my campaign team to reach out to the secretary of Carlos. And she actually, although she didn't give me specifics on how to guide my casting journey, she just helped me with evaluating and understanding what issues does CAS need to be solved. That's it. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you. Follow-up question. Can you name the secretary of Carlos?
Miss Chloe, Calab.
Okay. Can you restate again those concrete issues that Carlos is dealing with?
So what she mentioned to my campaign team was that there's an issue of stigma within the humanities, that the course, there's usually a basic stigma that the humanities doesn't lead to anywhere. Second is also that there is a job discrepancy after graduation, wherein humanities students don't necessarily know what to do after graduation. Second, of course, there's also the need to stabilize Carlos and to keep it alive throughout the academic year.
Okay, thank you. For the remaining 40 seconds, I want to clarify. The issues that were in logos and that Carlos plans to address in its new structure were not actually the presence of a CAS rep. Because if you look historically at the existence of logos as the ACAD association of CAS, it has always had commitment issues. So what Carlos did was actually to streamline and sort of compartmentalize its actual constitutional structure. So I will reiterate, it was not the presence of a CAS rep that determined whether or not logos continue to exist. It was the internal structure. I think that's important to take into consideration. Thank you.
Thank you.
May I proceed with my second question? Okay. So, a common issue raised by humanities students is the lack of connection or interaction with the faculty. I know you've addressed this in your previous comments. This is a concern typically raised by first years and second years, and for the third and fourth years, this is a non-issue as they are established enough in the university that they are no longer afraid or intimidated by their professors. In order to tackle this issue, understanding the general disposition of the CAS students is tantamount. That behavior is characterized by hesitance to ask questions or to help in the first place. As a potential CAS candidate, what venues or concrete programs are you willing to propose and execute in order to create a more unified CAS community, not just within its student body, but between students and faculty?
Thank you for that question. I think I would like to take a page in the Dragon and Egg project under the USG, which is Hatchery Crossfire. Based on my experience being a dragon and having eggs, you're able to aid them in understanding how to work around the inner workings of your school. And we can actually streamline this as a mini version within CAS, wherein, as you mentioned, we're more comfortable talking to our fellow CAS students and not our faculty, because there seems to be that stigma of baka they're scary or you're not able to talk to them because they're of a higher power. Yet if we are given that opportunity to partner up with a senior or a junior, for example, me as a junior, I know and am pretty aware of the different CAS professors. And if ever I get partnered up with a freshman or a second year who is unable to speak out their concerns, then maybe I can be that bridge between them, which brings me back to taking a page out of having a dragon and egg system within just the CAS community.
Thank you. We will now proceed to the third round and the final question. You have been actively involved in several UA&P organizations, even assuming leadership positions across them. However, concerns have been raised regarding your work ethic within these roles, particularly with your dismissal from JMC and Merch. Given the gravity of commitment within bodies such as the USG, why should people vote for you despite these concerns? How can you guarantee that you will uphold the high level of commitment expected of a USG officer and cast representative?
Thank you for that question. Firstly, I would like to say that I take full accountability of what happened during the beginning of the academic year. Although I am not going to take any setbacks, or I'm not going to use these excuses that usually people would use. During those times, yes, I was in a very low place. And yes, I was going through some aspects of my life that a lot of people didn't really know. And although I respect those two organizations very well, and they have given me enough training and also enough knowledge to actually push through and even understand the University of Inbon. And I respect the officers of both those organizations who actually chose to do this. And in all honesty and really speaking to deep into my heart, I'd actually like to say thank you, because this has actually opened an even bigger avenue for me to understand myself a bit more. Yes, there has been concerns on this, and I truly acknowledge those, and I take full accountability. And I'm not saying, and I'm not going to be promising that this will not happen again, because I don't want to give empty promises. Yet, a lesson has been learned. And opportunities that I was widely given in the past and that they have passed over already, all I can see is a silver lining and to have a positive attitude. Yes, this did happen, and there's no hiding it, and I'm not trying to hide it as well. Yet going back to my story, I talked about community. I talked about how UA&P became that springboard for me to fully understand myself, to find myself once again. I talked about how my humanities blockmates helped me get back on my feet. I talked about the varsities who have given me an avenue to be myself and also to aid me in other aspects. And I even talked about even random people who would come up to me and talk to me about these issues. Again, I take full responsibility and accountability with all these aspects. Yet right now, although you might not be able to see concrete evidence on paper, but I'm standing here before you and being able to run under Anima and even taking the first step to do so as your next CAS representative, it's my number one symbolism to show that what happened in the past, I've left it already. I've moved on, and I am immensely grateful for all the training they have given me, because I am going to use this training and use these experiences and even these mistakes to bring into how I will be as a CAS representative. Concretely, how I will do this, and you can even check back on me in the next academic year if I do become your CAS representative. I will make sure, once again, I don't want to make any promises, but I will do my best to bring my projects to life. And though it might be hard, it might be challenging, I know people will still be looking at me how they looked at me during the beginning of the academic year. But personally, it's not that I don't care. But I personally think that it has become a part of me. It has also built me a bit better. It has given me strength. And it has given me the avenue to fully understand that UA&P, despite all these challenges, has given me a second chance. And I'm willing to take that second chance, not just for me, but for my CAS students, for my varsities, and all the communities that helped me throughout the way. Thank you.
Alright, thank you. For the first follow-up question, I'd like to go back to something that you said during your answer portion. You said that you cannot guarantee that this won't happen again. Can you again please answer why then should CAS students elect you into this position, which requires great responsibility and commitment, given this statement from you?
Thank you. Once again, I will not be opening up this platform with a promise. Because I feel like the university is always hearing about promises and not them being fulfilled. Yet I think the CAS community should vote for me because one, masarap maging CAS student. I don't know how to explain it, and I'm not trying to tap into your hearts and be that pangmasa person. But personally, entering the university, I actually didn't really know what CAS was going to offer me. Yet, throughout my years and even picking up majors now, I finally understood what it is. And that's not just evaluating the human person, but being a person ourselves. I'm not asking you to give me a second chance. I'm not asking you to look past my mistakes. I'm asking you to be a person. Not that I'm saying that you aren't persons, but I'm asking you to view me as one as well. To be by my side, as I will be by your side. And when I mentioned that I might not fully guarantee this, I will not be retracting my answer because, once again, I take full accountability for those aspects. Yet, I want to mention that because of these lessons, because of these challenges, these adversities that I faced, I have come to the point in my life where I have finally understood what really comes when it comes to work, when it comes to creating relationships, when it comes to taking opportunities. Maybe I didn't see that before, or maybe I was blinded by joining all these things. Yet now, when I have slowly taken a step back, I have finally understood that CAS, the communities that I've mentioned, varsities, they are the communities that build me up. And I want to build them up even more, just because they have done it for me as well. Thank you.
Second follow-up question. You mentioned that you have learned from these experiences. Given that, what steps will you take to ensure that you successfully execute your responsibilities within the USG and CAS if elected?
Thank you. One of the issues or problems that I noticed that I had before was that I would keep it all to myself, taking the work in. And that usually didn't help me because I wouldn't be able to execute it to the best of my abilities because I place it all on my shoulders. Yet, because of learning what those experiences have given me, the number one step I would first take is creating an excellent and stellar team that will help me create these projects and push them through. One side of the team being focusedly on CAS, and the other side of the team being focusedly on whatever position I'm placed in, whether that be for different stakeholders. Right now, I can't give you names or individuals who I will be placing in my team, but I will make sure to be able to talk to these individuals and lay the groundwork of the projects that I want to do and create a foundation that will allow me to not only execute projects on my own aspects, but also to listen to others that will help me throughout creating these projects as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Fernando. We will now be opening the floor for the stakeholders and audience Q&A.
First question. If elected into the university student government, what position in the USG do you believe you could do your best at?
Thank you for that question. Besides, of course, the obvious CAS representative, I personally, and based on my projects, would like to be the SVO, which is the student varsity officer. Reason being that as an athlete myself, I have seen firsthand the issues that the varsities have gone through, whether it be funds, equipment, transportation fees, facilities, and even retention. I feel like as an athlete and seeing these issues firsthand, I will be able to do my best and to succeed in this position the best possible way I can. Thank you.
Good evening. So, I'm Garrett. I'm with the Politics and Opinion section of OSUD. So, my question is, regarding your platform, the Dragon Guardians, do you plan to partner with existing advocacy organizations which promote environmental conservation, like UA&P Anon? And what concrete steps will you take to support and foster a positive student culture among our student organizations?
Thank you for that question. For your first question, yes, I do plan on partnering up with UA&P Alon. And I also would like to mention that I'll also be partnering up with a professional organization outside because translating environmental issues is actually very challenging for a university. Being able to seek professional help with the collaboration with UA&P Alon will actually be able to aid us in really understanding that plastic consumption, waste consumption is an issue that the university actually has to face. And I'm not saying that the university has not done this. There's actually some initiatives that they have done. For example, if you see the signs in classrooms and bathrooms under UCare, they tell you turn off the lights, they tell you don't use a lot of tissue paper. Yet there is something that we can do more. Because based on my research and talking to an environmental engineer here in the university, they have mentioned that the Philippines is actually the third in the world that has been utilizing plastic. So we use about 2.7 million tons. So I know it's a big number, so I would break it down. For example, if you would see elephants, that would be 37,000 of them. And that's a big number for a small country. And he mentioned that by doing small steps like this, although it doesn't seem like a big initiative, it will actually help us in the future. To answer your second question, as I want to partner up with UA&P Alon, that's the best way to be able to create and foster a better organizational community through partnerships. Thank you.
Hello, Ms. Fernando. I'm Pio Pantaleon. So, at present, there is a problem that the university faces, and I believe that the College of Arts and Sciences is the one that is affected most. And it is that there is the impending threat that the new BS Psychology program will cannibalize the BA Health Humanities program. So, I've spoken to a number of health humanities students, freshmen in particular, and without any hesitation, they've told me that they will shift to the BS Psychology program. And so now, the burden becomes on your part to help delineate the BS Psychology program from the BA Health Humanities program. So now, because that is the burden, maybe you can express to us if you have been able to reflect about this problem and perhaps give us some concrete measures that you can promise us in the following year. Thank you.
Thank you for that question. Going back to my project, the Cascade Journey, this project has been able or will be able to give each school under CAS a different avenue to develop more skills and develop more and hone more of their talents. Because I will be utilizing this project to partner up even with health organizations. This will allow, even besides giving skills and honing talents, a good marketing scheme for students who are entering university to understand that this is the difference between health humanities and BS Psychology. Although I acknowledge that there is a sense of maybe competitiveness that might happen if ever BS Psychology does come into play, or when it does come into play against health humanities. Yet through this project and the good steps that I've mentioned a while ago, this will allow students to be able to unique themselves away from BS Psychology and also to give them more avenues to understand what health humanities can actually offer them as an individual course differentiating from BS Psychology. Thank you.
I would just like to clarify and ask if in the future as the potential CAS representative, how closely are you willing to work with the CALOS Exec Board? Because as we all know, CALOS was only reinstated just earlier this semester. But we also have not been able to see your presence even before when you were announced as the candidate from Anima. So I just want to hear some of your thoughts regarding that, and also to just, clarify the ideas of my participation in the conceptualization of the Cascade Journey, which was announced prior to me being asked that question.
Thank you so much. Firstly, I would like to apologize for that notion. it was my campaign manager that reached out to you, and maybe we missed that aspect of giving you that opportunity to give as a CALOS member or as a CALOS executive board member. So thank you for still giving your points because it was actually very helpful in understanding CAS a bit more. To answer your second question about being part
Participation and communication with CALOS, whether it be through exec board or through the members.
if elected into being the CAS representative, I do plan on working very closely with CALOS and hopefully that they allow me to do so. Because personally, like what I mentioned a while ago, my number one priority to be the future CAS rep is to keep CALOS afloat and to stabilize it. Although I would take accountability that there was no participation from my end beforehand CALOS, yet to springboard this, I will be able to be more visible through the academic year. And even if I don't get elected, I will fully show my support and hopefully be a active member within CALOS. Thank you.
So I just have two questions. For the first, it seems that there are multiple identified issues within the CAS community, identified by you, by the previous speakers, and as well as in personal FGUs and conversations, such issues as a lack of feeling unity and great insecurity among the students. Do you think that these speak to a common trait, personality, or weakness among the CAS students? If so, what is this, and how do you plan to address this apparent weakness or trait?
Personally, I don't think it's a weakness on our part. The CAS students do come together on individual terms. They have their own groups, they have their own friends and all of that. It's not a weakness on our part because we are who we are and we do what we want to do. Yet, a concrete way I would like to go back is to my cascade journey because this project not only gives skills and talents, but also it is a interbatch project wherein individuals can come together and join in skills together and understand their inner workings of CAS and good subjects as a community. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And for the second question, I mentioned earlier FGUs and personal conversations. It seems that among these, humanities students have mentioned feeling a gap or separation or even feeling like an outsider with regard to the other schools as well as to the university at large. Myself as a CAS humanities student, many of my peers and juniors have expressed such sentiments, and I've heard of other schools even acknowledging this sort of perception as well, or this separation. This is especially given the lack of a home organization and a representative the past year. Given that your only CAS-centered project involves primarily only interactions within the School of CAS, how do you plan to bridge this gap with the other schools?
Thank you for that question. Firstly, the first step, of course, I would have to take is internally. I do acknowledge that you mentioned that because of a lack of a home organization and the CAS rep in the past, this needs to be addressed. So with this project and being able to stabilize CALOS, we'll be able to work in and out. So in first, because we will be developing the community within CAS. And personally, the Cascade journey, although it is mentioned that this will be focused on CAS students and CAS-centered skills and issues, this could be a staple project that could be even opened up to other schools if ever they want to join in. Because the skills that we will be teaching is not just for CAS students, but skills and talents that CAS students are particularly interested in. Yet, if we were to stabilize this project and make it a staple one, there is no reason for it not to be open to other schools. As well as the Cascade journey does end during the foundation day of CAS. And because CAS subjects is actually the fundamental subject of each course, we can already include them within this project in general. Thank you.
Hello, this was sent in. Okay. As the potential CAS representative, can you give us assurance that once you enter the USG, you would continue to uphold the interests and needs of the CAS community? And please give us specific and concrete examples of how you have helped and contributed to the CAS community prior to your candidacy.
Thank you for the question. Upon being elected or hopefully elected within the CAS position, yes, I will make sure to uphold all the values under CAS and also to uphold the skills that I have learned as a CAS student. Concretely, I would say the best example is starting with my own blog. I'm widely close to my blog and my CAS Humanities blog, and being able to help them within that aspect has given me a bit more knowledge and look into what the CAS community needs. And although this does not seem like a big FGD group, and that there are around only 130 students within CAS, there is a small society that I can help, and hopefully being within the CAS position, this will be my number one priority. As mentioned a while ago, if elected into CAS, my number one goal is to stabilize Talos and to aid them in their journey in becoming, continually being a home organization. By doing this will actually help CAS students because they will finally have an avenue for their platforms and their ideas and their skills. To ensure this, going back to my cascade journey, this will be a springboard for Kalos. And hopefully, with the projects that they are going to do in this academic year and the next upcoming academic year, I will prioritize that over this project because since this is what they are planning on now, I would like to be that helping hand and that LO between that executive power and also the university student government and Kalos itself. Thank you.
Alright, that concludes the portion for CAS. Thank you to Ms. Fernando for participating in SIKLAB.
Thank you so much.